founder of House Copper, and it has been in business for 6 years and getting stronger every year. Here at House Copper, I build cookware 100% made in America. Most of it is tin-lined copper cookware, but sometimes it's copper straws, sometimes it's copper restorations, and sometimes it's seasoning cast iron skillets. But it's all cookware, it's all locally sourced, and it's all touched by tons of human hands before they get back to the consumer. It all started with me researching in books of 1800s, 1700s cookware. What would have existed and been made by a coppersmith here in America in our early days, because a lot of those cookware shapes have been lost. The entire process from start to finish of designing an entirely new piece of cookware takes, honestly, months. Once the initial design and building stage is done though, then you're really looking at a combination of 7-8 hours. And what we will be doing in the shop today is about 2 hours if I were to do every step exactly from start to finish. The handle design gets sent to a tool and die maker who makes a set of match plates out of aluminum sheet. In the meantime, a copper order is placed in Texas for the smelters there to melt down copper and roll it with heat and compress it to the specifications that I request when I do cookware. And then those bodies get UPS'd up to me. And then I have the blanks. So once I have all those pieces that everyone has helped me with, the parts that I can't physically do in my home garage, then from there, it becomes all of the detail work. The handles are a ductile iron. They're raw. They're not seasoned like a cast iron skillet, so they can rust very quickly and easily. So I put them in an arburator, which is filled with walnut shells, and it shakes, and it tries to get off any of the real rough spots of the metal. And then I will take it to a sander and a grinder, and there's lots of sparks and dirt, and get it real nice so that when you're holding the pan, it feels good in your hand. Then I have to drill the holes out for the rivets in the handle. So that all gets done on a drill press. I actually had a fixture handmade with Bob, the master tinsmith I apprenticed under. We created these like fixtures so that I could consistently drill holes instead of eyeball them, because you want as much consistency as possible when you're making a lot of pans. Meanwhile, I'll take that copper body, and then that goes on my coppersmith's anvil, and I figure out where I'm gonna drill the holes in the body to match my handles, and I drill those out. And when you're drilling metal on a curved surface, it's a little tricky. The drill bit likes to wobble a lot, so you can't just, oh, I'm gonna just drill it. It's a little more painstaking than that, and it walks a lot. It can be annoying. And I've learned the hard way how to do it, so it's not as annoying. And then I pull up my rivet gun, and these copper rivets that are specially made for me by a mom and pop shop about an hour up the road. They have a head on them that you can't just buy pieces and rivet them on. And then once you have a solid pan and it's all fixed and you've hammered the inside so the rivets are a little nice, and then you put it back on the fixture and you do another pound with the rivet gun. It's never a straight process. There's always a little wiggling. Then I will heat up my tinning forge. And that's an open flame that gets to about 600, 650 degrees. And I will take the copper pan and I'll wipe drywall mud on the outside, because it will protect the copper from that fire, from burning the outside, and also from the drips of the molten tin that will go inside when it's hot. So that piece goes on, and then we wait. We'll wait for it to get hot. We wait for the pan to kind of look the right color. And once it looks the right color, I'll spray in flux, which is the chemical that helps the tin adhere to the copper. In the old days, they would use pine tree resin, and that goes in and it preps this hot copper and it steams right up, and it's almost like cooking. You wait for your flux to caramelize. And once it looks like it's the right color and your pan is the right color, then I put in bars and pieces of tin. I'll wait for that to get hot and it will melt. And once the tin starts melting, I gotta move fast because I gotta move the pan over that fire. I have to get the pan, hot everywhere around. You can't let it sit in one place because your tin will burn or your flux will burn, and then you gotta take it off and you gotta scrape it down and you have to sand it and you gotta start all over again. So you really have to time it just right. And then once it's ready to go, I will literally take my hand with a piece of home insulation, because it doesn't burn, and I will hand wipe in the tin so that the whole interior is not only food safe, but it's non-stick. Then you have a finished piece that then just needs some washing, some cleaning. Go on the buffing wheel and polish it so it's nice and shiny, and then at the very end, I will hand polish every crevice and edge of that pan so it is ready to be used on the stove for like 4,000 years. The most intricate part of the process is the tinning process, because so many things can go wrong so fast. And it's not only a trade and a skill, but there is a little bit of artistic flair that comes to it. And I almost want to say, if you get it, like if your hands and eyes and body gets it, you can tin. But if you don't get it, it's always going to be a struggle. When I started to learn about the coppersmithing trade, I realized that the last time anyone had even written a book about it was 1894. So it was this totally dead art, and it was one of those things that even the retired mechanics who were doing this as a hobby on the side, they didn't even know some of the techniques. So they'll get together and be like, I think this is how you can make a tray. So all of this knowledge was still getting pieced together by people who were as old as my grandfather. And I started to go, oh my gosh, when they die, nobody is going to be left remembering how to use these tools and remembering how to do these processes. So it kind of becomes like gathering it and trying to keep it all in one place so that I can share it with a lot of people, hopefully, in my lifetime, and keep it alive, because otherwise it's gonna die again.